So you got to Gamescom, your
Yes, yeah.
flight
So
arrived, and
right.
and
So,
you had all of the jet lag and none of your bags.
yes, yeah. So right, we after we got the funding, we quickly made the decision that we were going to go to Gamescom. It was kind of last minute. So we couldn't apply to be part of the Indie Arena booth, the Awesome Indies experience, right? Some of those things that they run specifically for indies. We were too late to apply for those. So really what we had left to us if we were going to participate was the online digital partnership package, which was 10,000 euros. So that's a significant, capital outlay. Was our first big festival. We also went to DevCom and we were selected for the NRW Indie Expo that's part of DevCom. Um, and so, right, go big or go home, I guess, right? It's our first festival, so we might as well go see what this is about. So let's go do one on the other side of the world and go spend, 10,000, $15,000 to go do it.
Yeah, yeah, the
So we
first
did.
festival, and it's yeah, as far away from home as you can possibly get.
Yeah, yeah. So I went to go do some recon and go figure out if right if we were to participate next year, if we were to be in the Indie Arena booth, if we were to do right go show with a publisher next year, if we have a publishing agreement by then, what would that mean for us? What sort of resources will we need? How many people would we want to man the booth? What sort of marketing materials and collateral do we need? Right, just sort of all that functional research stuff of like, right, if we had to execute this ourselves next year, what would we need? How would we do it?
Yep.
And so from that perspective, it was really useful. It was really hectic, obviously, getting ready, getting all that collateral ready, getting everything ready, right, signing the contracts, paying the invoices, getting all the stuff set up for the online presence. Um, they kind of run the festivals separately. DevCom and Gamescom use different websites, different content management systems. So you've got two logins, you've got two usernames, you've got two passwords, you've got two portals that you're setting up, you've got two contacts that you're dealing with for different things. Obviously, they haven't done an in-person one in a couple of years because of COVID. So I think this was also their first return to the full bore in-person conference. So it was a lot. And I think, right, like they were going through a lot, obviously. We were doing everything at the last minute and it was our first one. So we probably had a lot of, first timer questions that,
Yeah.
right, if we were a more experienced developer, if we were a publisher who does this all the time, we might not have so many questions, but we certainly had our fair share. Made some mistakes along the way.
So
Did
those,
something.
those two are funny. So there was one mistake on our side, and then there was one mistake on their side. So on our side, we didn't end up in or a part of the Steam event, right? So when you go on Steam and you see the summer sale and you see the E3 event and you see the Gamescom event and all these are all prearranged things with Valve, where somebody's doing a thing on Steam and they're going to include certain games in that thing, right? There was the different whatever a Palooza ones and all that sort of stuff. And so now, what did you miss that made it so that we didn't show up in that event for it was about a day?
Right, right. So we're filling out all these different portals, two different sites, two different sets of collateral. We're participating in DevCom, NRW Indie Expo, Gamescom Now, which is the online digital presence for Gamescom, and the Steam event that goes along with that Gamescom event. And so you're filling out multiple forms, multiple agreements, two content management portals. You're sending off all of your collateral to be reviewed by the Germany's age rating organization to make sure that it's properly rated and they put it in the right room in Gamescom and all this stuff. And there was one link on one page on the exhibitor site that was basically go here to fill out your application so that you're included in the Steam event. And either we missed that form or we filled it out and there was an error with it or something. I have a feeling I missed it. I don't remember it because we were doing so many of those sorts of things that when my jet lagged self in Germany, I was up pretty much when it changed over to start showing the Gamescom material on Steam. So I was like, hey, I'm awake anyway. Let's see what our game looks like on the Gamescom feature on Steam. And we weren't there. And all the other games were there. And obviously, right from a business perspective, getting a return on investment for going to Gamescom is about what kind of media attention, sales, conversions, wish list conversions, whatever, can you get out of spending, right? We spent 15 grand Canadian. So what did we get for that? So not being included in the Steam event right away is a significant value proposition for that event. Is obviously we have a Steam page.
Yep.
Getting featured in the Gamescom event for Steam would drive additional traffic to our Steam page, which we hope converts into wish lists that later convert into sales, we hope. So not being included was a pretty big deal. And at, 1 a.m, whatever, trying to figure out what happened to make us not be included and what we might have missed and or who to contact or whatever to get that stuff sorted out.
Yep.
Was challenging.
Who to yell at? You're thinking the whole time, like, what the hell is this? That was one of the major reasons why we wanted to do this in the first place.
Yeah. Well, right. I mean, right. We're basically running around with our hair on fire for a couple of weeks leading up to the event, trying to get all the collateral in place, realizing you missed one thing, which, okay, out of 100 things, it's bound to happen. Yeah. But to miss what's probably one of the most important things out of the whole kit is like, yeah, okay, right, shame on us. Next year we'll do that first, I guess.
But it is an unfortunate thing because of, and I know that you sort of hit me with how disorganized some of it was for quite a bit there. And that is a problem that they should be fixing, because a new developer coming in who doesn't have all of this experience, who doesn't have a PR guy who has been doing this for 30 years, they need to be they need to be able to consolidate it a little bit, right? So many portals and so many forms to fill out and all of this sort of stuff. It should be a little bit easier than that.
Oh, totally, right. There were growing pains on both sides.
Yep.
Right. In their defense, I'm sure that some of the games that are showing at Gamescom do not have Steam pages and would not value from participating in the Steam event. There are going to be mobile games there. There are going to be console exclusive games or games that have a different target audience than ours. Obviously, Steam and PC are our target platform, so it was most valuable to us to be in that event. So to not be in it is a significant, miss for us, where maybe for some developers, maybe not so much. But
fair enough.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
And then the other interesting one was we, as part of DevCom and our participation in the NRW Indie Expo, they do a pre-recorded Twitch stream with all the different developers. So it's a curated event. So all of the participants in DevCom get to apply to participate in NRW Indie Expo, and they handpick, 50 or so of those applications to participate in this curated event where they do some additional media coverage, highlight you to the publishers and other vendors and stuff that are at DevCom. They do this Twitch stream showing off the games. Right, obviously that's an industry event that has some overlap with Gamescom, so it's a bit of a different audience. But publishers, other vendors, right? Unity, Xsola, Microsoft are all people that are likely checking out these games. Mm-hmm. And so, great to be selected. It was a pleasure to participate. They asked us to do a recording where I was here in Edmonton. They wanted to do a let's play of Sovereign Syndicate for about 20 minutes while we talked about the game. And because they're in Germany, they're 8 hours ahead of us. And so they booked us for a 10 a.m. Germany time slot, which is 2 a.m. here. I asked for a little bit of flexibility there that they didn't really have. So I had to get up at 1 a.m., go take a shower and do my hair so I look presentable for this Let's Play stream that's going to be on Twitch and conceivably viewed by thousands of people. So I'm online with my headset on at 1:59, ready to go. We do our recording. It's about a half hour with a little introduction and a little outro or whatever, and you just kind of make small talk. And okay, so we're all done that. Okay, take it all off, shut it all down, go to bed. And then just as DevCom was finishing, we were told that our file specifically broke. So our Let's Play recording was a corrupted file, didn't work. And they asked me, it's now the end of DevCom, other than the trade event that overlaps with Gamescom. And they said, hey, do you want to come re-record? And we'll just do it in the booth at Gamescom.
Because you didn't find out that it was broken. So you recorded it in Edmonton, then got on a plane and went to Germany. And then they sent you a message that said, oh yeah, that thing you did back home in the comfort of your own home it was broken.
Yeah. Well, and a few days into DevCom at that, right? Like to my way of thinking, the event was basically already over because Gamescom had started. DevCom was still going, but it was that overlap trade period where kind of both of them are going on at the same time. And so I had really questioned, like, okay, like I'm here anyway, right? Like I'll just stop by the trade booth and come do it. Like it's not that far out of my way. I'm at the event anyway. But like, how valuable is that? Do we really need it? Like, are people watching it? Like what's right? Like, okay, I can, but like, why?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So then you showed up and expecting that there's going to be maybe 20 or 30 people watching this live stream. And
so the night before, again, I'm still jet lagged. I'm up in the middle of the night because I can't sleep. I'm going to bed like super early. I'm like eating dinner, falling asleep, and then waking up at like 2 a.m. And you and I are chatting because it's like whatever in the evening. 8 o'clock in the evening in Edmonton, and you're like, what the hell are you doing up at like 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, why are you still awake?
Yeah, so we're just chatting or whatever, and I do regularly, especially during a big event like this. Hey, right, did we get any new media coverage last night that I can link on our socials, that I can share on Twitter, that I can share with our Discord community, that I can comment on YouTube, right? So what coverage did Sovereign Syndicate get yesterday while I was at the convention? And one of the articles was Crimson Herring Studios and Sovereign Syndicate won third place in the DevCom NRW Indie Expo. And no one had told me that we had won. There had been a award ceremony a couple of nights before that I didn't attend because I had a conflicting event. And so, right, there's so many things going on, especially with two sort of overlapping but separate events, that you can't go do all the things, right? So you need to look at the agendas, pick the events you want to go to, and not sweat about it. Like, okay, sorry, I can't go do all the things, so I'm going to pick the things that I think are most important, and sorry, I can't be in two places at once. And don't put too much pressure on yourself and just go do the stuff. So I went and did the thing that I wanted to go do, and it meant that I missed the award ceremony. And I probably would have made a different decision or tried to rebook the other meeting had I known I had won. Right, third place. So not only did they want us to re-record, but they had our trophy at the recording session because it was the first time we had known that we had gotten it, basically, and that I had had the chance to get the trophy. So that was a nice little added bonus. Was we won third place in the NRW Indie Expo. And it's unfortunate that I wasn't there to receive the award, but it was nice to be able to add that to the Twitch Let's Play stream when we did the re-recording. So, and it actually, the stream turned out way better, right? Like I was a little bit more, I had just done a pitch earlier in the day in a conference room with a bunch of people in it. And so I had just pitched the game, just gone through the pitch deck that morning. I was used to talking about the game. I've been talking about the game all morning. Obviously, you talk about your own game a lot when you're at Gamescom. So I've been talking about the game a lot. We've been working on some new content earlier in the week. So I was playing through new content and testing things and whatever. So I was just really feeling in a good place about talking about the game because we were just doing it so much. And so I feel like middle of the day in Germany in the booth in all the excitement of Gamescom, I did a lot better job on that stream than I did at 2 a.m. by myself here in Edmonton with my headphones on, just me. I think we had a better recording experience, had a better stream. It was a live stream with a larger audience in the middle of the festival. Right, we had 4,200 people watching, so there was some audience participation on Twitch and some questions we could answer. And even right, the people from DevCom who were coordinating the Let's Play with us and facilitating, they had played the game before, so they were more familiar with it than they were the first time. So all in all, I'm super glad that we re-recorded it. I think it came out really good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's always best. From my own experience, it's always best to not know how many people are watching you while it's happening. It's good to know that after the fact.
Yeah.
I've certainly had those moments myself. So all in all, yeah, I've been to various trade shows. I've been to PAX, I've been to E3, I've been to BlizzCon, and then a whole bunch of non-game industry ones. And I kind of know what they're all about and how that energy goes. I can actually totally understand how the energy of the convention and just how you're reacting to all the chaos that's going on around you, it can improve things dramatically. It makes everything just that little bit more exciting. Was it what you wanted it to be? Was it worthwhile if it wasn't what you wanted it to be? And what would you do differently for future?
Oh, man, that's a lot. So
Why I'm here, the tough question.
we overspent for what we were able to get out of it from a strictly business short-term return on investment perspective. It did not drive as much traffic and as much wish lists to Steam as we were hoping, right? If that's our measuring stick for what value was for participation, we did not get a good return on investment, right? So we spent about $15,000 Canadian. We got maybe a little bit more than that, maybe closer to 20 Canadian, more like 15,000 US. So we spent that much. Obviously, part of that was right, Gamescom, DevCom, travel expenses, accommodations, meals, right, all that sort of stuff. Put that all together, it's about $17,000 Canadian or so, whatever. We got maybe 1,000 wish lists over and above our normal run rate for participating in the Gamescom event. That will not, even if every single one of those converted to a sale, a year from now or whenever the game comes out, that will not return that much money to us. Now, of course, we got some additional media coverage. We got the Twitch stream. All of that media is going to stay up for some period. People may discover us through that media. It may have a longer tail value on it. We also met with publishers while we were there. So obviously, if those meetings turn into publishing agreements, then they have significantly more value for us. Although you could argue that those meetings could have just as easily happened over Zoom and didn't need to be in person at Gamescom. It definitely helped to be there in person in a place where so many publishers were, to be able to meet people and have conversations about it and show the game and all that stuff.
Yep.
The travel experience was tough. Right, on a personal level, it was a little bit overwhelming. The travel days were hard. Right, flights, layovers, connecting flights. Still some differences in scheduling because of COVID. Wearing your mask on the flight. Canada having the Arrive Can app and all that sort of stuff. Late trains, late flights, lost baggage, all that comes with international travel these days really sucked. Like those days, leave a pretty bad taste in my mouth. Our hotel was not the nicest, right? We were making a last minute booking. Prices were fairly exorbitant because hotel owners know that they can charge very competitive prices because hotel rooms are at a premium when hundreds of thousands of people are coming in from out of town. So for the money I was willing to spend, the quality of the accommodations left something to be desired. I was not used to being in Europe and to the language barriers and things like that. And right, my German is not good. So some of those things were challenging. I enjoyed the city. It's a beautiful city. Our hotel was in a very walkable area, very eclectic, very cultural, lots of restaurants. I like to go to like art galleries and museums and stuff, and I did find lots of time to do that sort of personal stuff. Ray, our audio guy, lives in Leipzig, so he made the trip to Gamescom. Spent a lot of time with me. That was great, right? He speaks German, speaks English. He's lived in the area. He's a bit of a tour guide, helped me sort of deal with some of that anxiety and helped me get to know the town a little bit. He'd been there before. He'd gone to Gamescom and DevCom before, so he was a huge help. So that was very good. If you asked me today if I would do it again, I would say no, certainly not the way that I did it. But like I say, my travel experience and my hotel accommodations and the language barrier are coloring my perception right now, probably more than they would 6 months or a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
And, if we actually applied and got in as part of the Indie Arena booth, which is a subsidized rate, right? You don't pay the full rate to do that. Or if we were signed by a publisher and the publisher was bringing other games and we were just exhibiting as part of that publisher's portfolio, and we didn't have to pay full rate on our own, then the cost would be a lot more palatable for the value that we got out of it.
Yeah. Okay. So then what do you think as far as what you would do differently? What are the big lessons learned?
So
right?
I would book a nicer hotel closer to the convention space or a train station because, right, trains are great there. We were fairly close to a train station, but I didn't know that right away. So you're right, my own familiarity with the area has improved. And right, I would brush up on my German a little and learn some common phrases, get a nicer hotel, try and participate through a publisher or through the indie events and apply for those specifically instead of paying full price ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Fill out the Steam event integration, the very first thing we ever do. I don't think I would do DevCom again. I may apply for the NRW Indie Expo again, maybe. It depends on if you had to go into DevCom again. I would probably do DevCom online. I don't think I would pay for the extra days in Germany to go to DevCom. Just because I can watch a GDC talk or a DevCom talk online just as easy as I can do it in person. But the travel expenses and the hotel expenses and that didn't really have a ton of value for me.
It sounds to me like a lot of this comes down to time more than anything else. And I remember when we were talking early on, like the decision of go, no go for Gamescom actually happened fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And not as far in advance as you would like it to be. Because you wanted to make sure that the demo was ready to go before the show, and that it was going to be ready to go before the show. Because you don't want to go to Gamescom and your demo's not ready for another 2 or 3 weeks. That's too late, right? You've missed the boat now.
Yeah.
So the more time that you have in advance, trying to plan these sort of things and planning it, about a month out versus 3 months or 4 months or something like that, I would imagine.
Yeah. We'll be much more prepared for whatever the next festival is, right? We've put our name in for a number of them that are happening later in the year. We were too late to apply for PAX West because that's really like the week after games, not this week, but like next week, I think is PAX West. And those are really close together. I couldn't travel for both, right? Like, right, I've got my kids next week. They're in school. School's just starting. Right, I just took a week's vacation from my day job to go to Gamescom, so I don't think it would look great for me to take another week to go to PAX West. We were too
Yep.
late to apply anyway, so we'll have to wait till next year on that one. But there, we do have our names in for some other ones. IndieX Online, the next DreamHack in Atlanta, um, Mega Migs, I think in October in Montreal. Like, right, we're still gonna play the festival circuit. We're just much more prepared for ones that are a little later than we were for Gamescom, I think.
I love it. I just love it. It reminds me, like I say, of going to E3 2004, God, 18 years ago. Uh, just one of those things. It's absolute chaos. PAX was chaos. GDC was chaos. It all feels like that, and I love it. I know you hear a lot of games journalists that get tired of it, or developers that get tired of it, and I can't. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So with any luck, I'll be able to attend one of those shows with you at some point here, because, like I say, I have a lot of fun. Any other closing words about Gamescom before we say goodbye to the viewers? It sounded like you had fun.
No, right, of course I had fun. It wasn't what I expected, but there was a lot of value in going. Right, I hope that everybody that went enjoyed something of what they saw. Part of me wished that we could have been there showing at a booth. I'm super thankful to everybody that helped us along the way, right? For DevCom, for NRW Indie Expo and those folks, for taking the time to re-record our stream, for the folks who helped get our Steam situation worked out. When that didn't go the way that we planned, they were very quick to jump to get that fixed for us. And that was a huge weight off my shoulders. For everybody who I talked to who mumbled their way through in English for me, for Ray, our audio guy, who was my de facto tour guide and translator, for all the other devs that I met, talked to, had a beer with. Yeah, all right, all the publishers we met with. Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to doing it again.
It's all a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you for the next one.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. Bye.